Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church in these remarkable times in which we live. Just as I keep thinking that we have reached the very bottom, the rock bottom of uncivil discourse in our country, and I feel that way over and over again. This is it. This is rock bottom. And then astounded by the new waves of insults that violate all the boundaries of human decency. Arguably, the most powerful man in the world has unleashed his unfiltered brain with a barrage of attacks upon a 16-year-old schoolgirl, Greta Thunberg. She was selected as Time magazine's Person of the Year for inspiring and leading a global movement to reverse climate change. Now, you would think it would be hard to live with yourself when jealousy overrides your narcissism to the point of losing control of your anger. But alas, there was not a shred of remorse. Of course, we know the drill by now. In an effort to show Greta and all young people that not all adults are dolts and crass, Michelle Obama issued the following tweet to Greta: "Don't let anyone dim your light. Ignore the doubters and know that millions of people are cheering you on." What a message to Greta, to young people worldwide. In fact, what a message to all of us. As darkness descends this holiday season, wrapped in white nationalism, don't let anyone dim your light. Now, we get a lot of help this holiday season when the air glows with the light of hope and peace and goodwill. Yeah, goodwill. But come the new year, when holiday lights are returned to closets and attics everywhere, and we face the world in all its starkness, don't let anyone dim your light. Stand strong against the doubters of science and climate catastrophe. Stand strong because there are millions and millions of people who support you. We must never let go of that fact. Symbol of light and of knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, and we light this chalice this morning in honor of Greta Thunberg. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. May we open our service turning our hymn books, please, to number 226.
Y'all better practice before next year. We're going to sing it again. Let us now quiet our hearts and prepare for the guest to arrive among us. Let us open our hearts and let love in. The guest is a child who wants your attention. Let us open our hearts and let love in. The guest is a person experiencing homelessness who wants a warm place to shelter. Let us open our hearts and let love in. The guest is a relative who doesn't understand your values. Let us open our hearts and let love in. The guest is uninvited grief, awakened by the rituals of the season, reminding you what or whom has been lost. Let us open our hearts and let love in. The guest is a quiet moment, a free moment, a moment of not doing, a moment simply to be. Let us open our hearts and let love in. The guest is love, patient and kind, full of hope and trust, protecting us, never failing. Let us open our hearts to the spirit of the season and let love in. My reading this morning is by the poet Jan Richardson for Advent. With every step you take, this blessing rises up to meet you. It has been waiting long ages for you. Look close, and you can see the layers of it, how it has been fashioned by those who walked this road before you, how it has been created of nothing but their determination and their dreaming, how it has taken form from an ancient hope that drew them forward and made a way for them when no way could be seen. Look closer, and you will see this blessing is not finished, that you are part of the path it is preparing, that you are how this blessing means to be a voice within the wilderness and a welcome for the way. The Christmas story is a story of dreams. Joseph was a dreamer. He had a dream that his child was a special child. Of course, every new child is a special child, but this was a child who could bring a new spirit into the heart of the people. Then he had another dream, that the king wanted to kill his child and kill that new spirit with him. And then indeed the king would kill many children, so threatened was he by the new spirit of the age. So Joseph rose in the night, waking his pregnant partner, who surely needed the sleep, and went to Egypt to escape the evil king. And after the king died, then Joseph had another dream that told him it was safe to come home again. And the Magi, the wise ones from the east, they too had dreams. They followed the star to the place where it stopped, and they found the child there just as they had foreseen it. They wanted to experience the magic of a new birth, the promise of a new world being born, a new way being made. But as they were leaving that place, they were told, yet again in a dream, that the way they had come wasn't safe, that now that they had seen the spirit of the new world, now that they were carrying this secret, they had to take that precious knowledge home by another way. The dreams told the wise ones and Joseph to do things that seem rash, unwise. I wonder if they gave themselves even a moment to think things through. I wonder if the wise ones all shared the same dream, or if one of them had to convince the others. I wonder if Mary said to Joseph, with a slow tongue and sleepy eyes, "Egypt is a big place. Do you have a map or a plan? Have you actually thought this through?" The phrase leap of faith has been attributed to Soren Kierkegaard, although he never actually wrote the phrase that we hear in English as leap of faith. The Danish phrase Kierkegaard used was something closer to leap towards faith. And the image in his mind was that of a dancer whose body could make such graceful use of the tension before the leap that it seemed effortless, like flying through the air, or rather like being lifted by an unseen force and set down flawlessly in position. But seekers, take note, to leap toward faith is to know that faith is in the landing, not the leaping. For Kierkegaard, the leap is infinite. It is detachment from what we think we know. And if we can't let go of that, we won't leave the ground. We'll be stuck on earth. Feel safe, but really it's dangerous because all the possibility, all the potential, all the transformation happens up in the air. The moment before the leap, there's guesswork, practice, tension, doubt. But faith, no, faith is on the other side. Maybe that moment when we could stop and think things through, the moment just before the dream evaporates and we come to our senses, is the moment of maximum momentum for our leap toward faith. That's the moment in which we are called to gather up our courage, leave our senses behind just for a moment, and let faith lift us up, and then set us down flawlessly in position for whatever's next. Most of us just shake off our dreams when we wake up. Maybe it was something we ate. But we would listen to a dream that told us to keep our children safe. Any of us would. There's no question. The question that Joseph asks us from his dreams is this: what if a new world, the world we've been dreaming of, was waiting for us just on the other side of the desert? Would you listen to that dream? Would you get going toward that promised country before you had a chance to wake up and talk yourself out of it? All around the world, there are people waking up from the sleep of living under oppression. There are people imagining a new kind of world, and they are saddling up to ride after those dreams. Migrants like Joseph and Mary cross our planet's pathways daily, sometimes only leaving one dangerous place for another, yet willing to take the chance so that their dreams and their children's dreams may have room to leap. In many cases, they're saddling up to ride away from danger. They're trusting the dreams that tell them that this world they're living in now is not healthy, is not safe. And the way that they came to this place in life will not get them home. They will have to go back by another way. We too are imagining a new world, especially as this year closes and we look forward to a year filled with both promise and dread. It might sometimes feel more like a push than a leap. But as you're flying through the air, as we all fly together, know that it's okay if your faith feels thin. Trust that faith is on the other side of the leap. Let go of what you know for sure, leave it behind, and follow the star to the place where it leads you. Give your whole heart to it without fear, trusting that as we all leap together, the world we dream about is being born. Amen.
You should write down these improvisations. Pretty good. First announcement, the biggest announcement, in case you have not noticed, Christmas will be here in 10 days. So you got 10 days to go do your crazy stuff, and hopefully our church can help you in these last 10 days of madness by giving you some reminders that it's more than just about madness, it's also about reflection and hope and dreams. We're going to have fun at the 11 o'clock service. Well, hopefully we always have fun at the service, but the 11 o'clock, we're going to turn it over to the kids. We're going to have the pageant, and if you think you know the story of the pageant, you ain't seen nothing yet. So do hang around, linger over coffee, and come back for 11 o'clock and watch the kids tell you how the story really unfolded. Then we're going to have the great Solstice celebration next Saturday, the 21st, and that's going to be followed by a dinner, of course, and tickets are available for that dinner. Please stop by and purchase your tickets. It's always a sellout, so I would recommend getting your tickets now. Then the next day, next Sunday, Lessons and Carols, a tradition that we've had in this church for many a decade. A great chance for us to sing those hymns we know how to sing. So we could just let go and feel really good about it, because our voices will be drowned out by other voices who are even louder than we are. And then, of course, on the 24th, our Christmas Eve candlelight service, 2 services at 5:30 and 7 o'clock. So I think that's it for all the announcements, and the offering will now gratefully be received, a chance to greet one another and bid each other a fine good morning. So I'd like to start my segment with a very brief reading by a guy named Eric Kaplan, who is actually the principal writer for the TV sitcom called The Big Bang Theory. And he is also a published philosopher, which means I guess he is a legitimate philosopher since he's been published. That's how it goes. His little piece is called "Should We Believe in Santa Claus?" In 1897, the American Civil War correspondent and editor Francis Pharsalus Church wrote an editorial for the New York newspaper The Sun in defense of religious belief. The piece responded to a question by 8-year-old Virginia O. Hanlon and included what has become that famous catchphrase, "Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus." Now, Church's argument is double-barreled. First, he argues that we have no way of knowing if Santa is really there. Even if we observed every chimney in the world, we wouldn't know that Santa couldn't slip through somehow in yet some undetected, untheorized manner. We don't know. There are some things our brains just aren't capable of knowing. And maybe Santa is one of them. But why does church argue for making the leap to Santa belief rather than standing pat with Santa agnosticism? That's a great term, isn't it? And I bet most of you are Santa agnostics. Here, church brings in his second pragmatic point. We should believe in Santa Claus because it will make our lives better if we do. Echoing Nietzsche's defense of art, church argues we need poetry, romance, and childlike faith to make life tolerable. Life without Santa is dreary and unromantic. Life with Santa is fun and magical. So, we might as well believe in him. Great point. The argument for the belief in Santa Claus means a lot more than simply offering an editorial response to that famous letter from an 8-year-old by the name of Virginia O'Hanlon. Our reading this morning by Eric Kaplan aspired neither to cuteness nor charm. Santa himself is not the primary subject. It's really all about faith. And oh, what a slippery slope that is for rationally minded Unitarian Universalists. Now, Soren Kierkegaard, the mid-19th century Christian existentialist, famously coined the term, at least we have transcribed it somewhat as a leap of faith, suggesting that getting from the safe confines of a rational, scientific, and empirical world to a more ephemeral world lacking evidence, well, requires a leap. It means leaping across a great chasm from solid ground to the unknown. It means leaving scientific reasoning for hints and guesses of a transcendent realm. Why make such a leap? Well, as Eric Kaplan implied, it will make your life better. And Kierkegaard felt pretty much the same way. Kierkegaard may have been a science-centered philosopher, and he really was. That it seems to elude a lot of people. He really was very pro-science. So that's the kind of philosopher he was, who loved to criticize organized religion. Practically makes him a Unitarian. But he basically felt that if one is steeped too heavily in rational thought, it can lead to skepticism. And in a brilliant analysis, he submits that skeptics never accomplish much of anything. And he's right. So take a leap and embrace faith, embrace ideas that can sustain you. Now, latching on to faith sounds like a grotesque idea to most Unitarian Universalists. But our great Unitarian theologian James Luther Adams made it clear that we better not reject faith altogether. Unitarians, like most skeptics, declare faith to be an illusion to be avoided. Since faith offers no dependable answers, it simply invites speculation. But Adams warns, be careful about rejecting all speculation outright, thinking we can easily dispense with religious faith. Because, when it comes right down to it, it's a little more complicated than dumping faith in order to feel more free and unencumbered as an individual. Since it's no secret that faith makes Unitarians jittery, and many have gone through great anguish to free themselves of faith, the kind that is prescribed, that has prescribed rules and regulations, Adams suggests another word which works just as well. So this other word, so if faith makes you a little jittery, try a different word. It means the same thing as faith, really, and the word is confidence. What do you have confidence in? Different than what do you have faith in, or maybe it's the same. What do you have confidence in? Because no one can maintain a positive attitude towards life without the confidence that human life has some important meaning, either actually or potentially. Wow. Is this then speculation and mere delusional faith? Or does it give you the confidence to get out of bed each morning and pursue a meaningful life? The concern for meaning, according to Adams, is not a luxury we may trip upon. Meaning is the essential concern of religion, that other realm with no steadfast empirical knowledge. Meaning is its focus. So take a leap. Become a believer with no scientific evidence beneath your feet. Wow. How does it feel up there? Let me get specific. Do you have faith? Do you have faith in the inherent dignity of all people? That is, do you have confidence? Do you have confidence in a humanity that's able to locate compassion at its core? Or, we could even use a better word, trust. Do you trust that the arc of the universe bends towards justice? So without faith or confidence or trust, we fall into the hell of despair. I'd rather leap unto faith and embrace life's meaning as though it were tangible, yet realizing it would never stand up to scientific scrutiny. Having confidence in life's purposefulness would fail the scientific method. Frankly, I think the reason every one of us comes to church is to take a leap of faith. We come to believe. We come here because we want to believe in something as intangible as hope. Because without hope in a humane world, despite continuously confronting greed, war, exploitation, climate change, hunger, violence, without hope, without confidence that life holds meaning, we fall victim to utter despair and cynicism. Now here's a test for you to consider just quietly among yourselves. Do you think that the more cynical you become, the less faith you have? And conversely, the more you believe, the less cynical you are. Faith and cynicism are inextricably linked. Doesn't cynicism work like acid? Acid that corrodes your faith and confidence in what you consider sacred. And so faith, this speculation that life really somehow matters, This speculation is what keeps us on this side of the precipice of despair. So what was that short piece about Santa really about? It was taking a leap of faith. Now, we have no way of knowing with certainty whether or not Santa exists. And as Kaplan pointed out, just as we need poetry and romance to make life tolerable, we need a belief in Santa. We need confidence in the generosity and good cheer which grabs hold of people during the holiday season. You know, if we don't leap to embrace that, the holidays are not much fun. As we're reminded, life without Santa is dreary. Life with Santa is fun. So, you know, I'd leave the unproven myth of Santa's existence, I'd leave that long behind and opt for the fun. Think about it. Santa is all about gifts. What's wrong with that? He reminds us of gift giving as a practice. Can you imagine if we all got into gift giving as a spiritual practice? It would turn the world around. Gift giving is pure joy and resists analysis. Without faith, without confidence, without trust, it gets mighty hard to be able to say yes to life and to play in all that we hold sacred. You know, I think most of us have already made a leap of faith. That's why we're here. You have more faith than you think. Faith. It's faith in love, faith in compassion, faith in human cooperation that allows us to trust the world. It's belief in Santa that opens us to a season of joy and wonder, where we sing of peace and hear angels spout about goodwill to all. And a fat old man defies gravity, flies through the sky on a sleigh, delivering gifts to children all over the world. Children of all colors, races, nationalities. How does he do it? Through our belief in him and faith in the positive attributes of humankind. Should we believe in Santa Claus? How can we not? Let's turn our hymn books, please, to hymn number 248. Have faith in your singing. Let's go. And we will join at Christmas, of hope and joy. Every girl and boy. A grace appears in the world on a morning such as this, when together we gather, when we gently warm this poinsettia-filled chapel by our presence, when the simple beauty of being human unfolds in the wonder of the season. Hurried feet and harried minds are apt to find here a gentler place where joys are shared, sadness too, where we meet together as comfort and hope to one another. What a miracle. Amen. I do want to remind you, you may want to hang around for the pageant. And I'll tell you, it's going to be interesting. Not only the kids will be doing their thing, but also in the pageant, David will play the part of the innkeeper who draws the greatest ale in all the kingdom. Monica will be the angel, of course. And there was no other part for me other than being Caesar Augustus. Sounds like typecasting, really, over and over again. So let us break for coffee, conversation, and a joyous season to all.